AT, what up, Beat It AT, what up, Beat It
Hey producers, what's good? This is HITPLAY here for Beat It AT, and today I'm going to be going over 3 different methods you can use to chop up your loops and samples. Alright, so before we get started, the drums all come from my Skyline drum kit. The 808 and bass part, the synth bass right here, come from my Got Bass pack, and then this melody comes out of my brand new Infinity loop kit. So if you're interested in any of the sounds that you hear in this video, you can check out the links in the description below. Alright, so here's a quick demo of what we're going to be working with. Alright, so the first method that we're going to be going over to basically flip your loops and samples is going to be the auto chop. Now, essentially, the auto chop is essentially just what it sounds like. You're essentially running your loop or sample through some sort of beat slicer or drum slicer plugin. Something similar would be like Fruity Slicer, SliceX. I've got Serato Sample. The other way that you can do this as well is the way that I did it, because I kind of felt like being lazy today. And so if I open this up, you'll see that I have something called LFO tool on here. Essentially what this is it's just a automated LFO that can control the filter and the volume automation of whatever you want, basically. So essentially all this is essentially it's side chaining. And so if I open this up, you can kind of see the shape. And if I solo this out, you'll see what it's doing. And I'll make it really drastic here. And I kind of like it right there, because now it sounds like it's chopping the sample. And you can change the rate. So I have it on a quarter note right here. I'm going to bump it up to an eighth note. And that just doesn't sound as good to me, so I left it at a quarter note. But you can change the, you can change the rate. You can change if you're going to use a filter or not. So if I turn this on, it'll activate the filter. And it has really nice filters, just as a, just so you know. They're super, super clean, super accurate. But that's the method that I used for this beat, but I'm going to be going over a couple more here. Alright, and so the second method that I want to go over real quick is going to be the auto chop and reverse. So this is similar to the first method, but the only difference is that we're not going to be using a auto slicer. So in order to do this, you would need to split whatever clip that you're going to use into however many pieces you want to reverse. So the one thing that you got to remember whenever you reverse audio is that if you have a chord progression or something playing through the clip or playing through the event or the audio source, what's going to happen is if you start with the 1 chord here, a 4 chord here, a 5 chord here, and then like a 6 or like another, like a variation of the 1, it's going to flip the entire clip if you reverse the whole thing. So a quick way to save the chord progression and save kind of the vibe that whatever it has is essentially you can split the clip and then just reverse it like that. And so when you split it like that, it's just going to reverse the sections and it's not going to reverse and flip the whole thing. So in Studio One, this is really quick and easy to do. So all you got to do is right click and you find this function called Split It Grid. It should be under the audio section or the event section. Yeah, it's under the event section. So it'd be Split It Grid. So all I have to do is change the quantize value up there, and then it'll split it by whatever that quantize value is. So I had it set to quarter notes on that chopping on LFO tool. So I'm just going to keep it at a quarter note value. I'm going to hit split it grid. And all that did was basically just put in beat markers and cut each one of those is now a separate clip. So now when I go and hit reverse, it won't flip the entire progression. And so this is what that sounds like. Versus this section over here. It sounds slightly different, and it's not supposed to drastically change it. It's just supposed to give you a slight variation. All right, so the third method is going to require that you have 2 separate plugins. However, you can get away with only having one. essentially all you're going to do is you would throw gross beat on this at half speed. I don't have gross beat because I'm in Studio One, so I have either half time or the other one is Time Shaper by Cable Guys. And essentially they do the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and grab Shaper Box by Cable Guys and just drag this onto my loop channel. And I already have a preset in here that I made called half speed. And so now what I'm going to do, because I don't want it to be super, super low and slow like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pitch this up. I think it would be 13 because math. So that should be at the same octave that it was originally, but it's going to have that like slow chop on it. But then the other thing that I'm going to do is, because I want it to have that quarter note chop, I'm going to change the arrangement of the plugin. So this way now the auto chop is the last plugin. So now it'll chop the half speeded version. And this is what that sounds like with all the drums. So if you half speed something that's too low, it'll just get super low and you can't even hear it. So you can automate this on and off in whatever software you're using. And so I'm going to try to do this real time for you guys. There we go. So Shaper Box is on, and then I'll turn it off as it gets to this point. And so you can give your beats some more variation. Then the second plugin I usually use after I use the half speed effect is I would go to find either Effectrix or Looperator. And I usually prefer to use Looperator for chopping samples because it does so much more than Effectrix. So what I can do is I can just right click and get rid of all these. And so it has just a bunch of multi-effects that you can use. So if I want to re-slice the loop, let's just do slice 16 there. And I'm just doing this randomly. And you might want to play around with this and figure out what sounds good to you. And let's just do slice 2. Cool. So I think what we'll do is we'll do 2, 2, and then 4. Actually, I think I'll do 2 and then 4 and just have that alternate. And then let's try another even numbers. Let's do 8. Awesome, awesome. And again, I got to find that snare. All right, so it's right before the 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one of these stutters right before the 3. And then I want to do it again, but let's do a triplet. And I think I want to do that. Yeah, I want it to be slower. I don't want that. And you just kind of play around with it and build your own unique preset for every sample that you do. And then you can also save these for later and just kind of reuse the ones that you like and then just alter them slightly to fit whatever sample you're using. But this is a great way to give variation to your samples and your loops. Alright guys, so that was my 3 methods that I usually use to chop up and add variation to my loops and samples, just so I'm not just dragging in the loop and using it as it is. So if you like this video guys, make sure you go ahead and you hit that like button down below, comment what you would like to see next, and if you like any of the sounds I used in this video, you can go ahead and find all those in the links in the description below. And until next time guys, peace.